No bullshit, just sailing. Do I need to say more? Normally, I talk in Danish here, but tonight I had a talk with the wild Norwegian YouTuber Erik Aanderaa, and we talked in English, and here you can see a recap of what we talked about. I'm so happy that you wanted to participate here today. And when I look at your movies at YouTube, I sometimes start thinking it's not that it doesn't have anything to do with this, but I think about once I was traveling alone, and one night I went to watch a movie, and it was a bit like going into the cinema by myself, and it was like people were looking at me. Oh, this guy has no friends. So I would like to ask you, why are you always sailing by yourself? Is it because you don't have any friends?
Well, luckily, I have some friends, but they are not often with me on my sailboat. But when I'm offshore, I really enjoy just being alone with the sea and ocean. And I have early on, I have often had people with me on long ocean sailings, but they tend to get seasick and they don't have the experience, and they maybe want to go home. They want to do other stuff, and I just found it easier to, if I just learn to sail alone, I can do whatever I want and be totally free and independent. So that's why.
Yes, I understand that. And that's actually one of the things of being at the ocean, right? It's this feeling of freedom. But for people who don't know you, maybe could you tell a little bit about yourself and your last in your last sail?
Yeah,
Yes?
well, I'm Erik. I run this YouTube channel called No Bullshit, Just Sailing, and it's about me sailing my boat alone over stormy seas, windy seas, and to far out locations like Shetland and Iceland, and and searching for adventure. And I put it all on film as good as I can for on YouTube for people to hopefully get inspired and learn something. That's the goal.
Yes. And I think most people here who, if they know that, I think they just love your movies, and they just like the way that you're really good at telling a story. That we can really feel that you put a lot of effort in your movies that you put there.
And we can say that already from the beginning, because there's a lot of questions coming in, and there's also a lot of statements coming in that we love your channel, and it's very nice.
Yes, yeah, it is.
So that's a big thing.
Thank you. It's nice to hear.
Yeah.
And the way we sell, it's the way that we sell as a family. We sail with our children. We have also doing a lot of ocean sailing, and we have friends with us, and we also do long passages. But it's very it's not at all the same way as you do it, because normally you sail by yourself, how should you prepare when you go by yourself?
Well, I prepare for the worst, for bad weather, and even worse if things go really wrong. What to do with all the safety equipment to bring along, and I check the weather reports and see that it's really possible to do the crossing alone. So I don't take any chances. I always go well prepared. I believe that's the main source for success, to go prepared.
And yes, I think that's also a question that's coming in. If you have thought of abandoned your boat, to just leave it, how bad should it be before you do that?
Well, when it starts sinking, I think it's time to leave it. But it's the very last thing I would do. It has to burn up or sink before I leave it. It's the safest place to be until it's not.
You now you mentioned yourself this about planning, because my first impression of you when I started following you on YouTube, that was, whoa, this guy is wild and crazy and no responsibility at all. But then I realized that's not the truth, actually. And in your latest movie, you sail all the way to Jan Mayen, which is very far away, but you only stayed there for a short while. Can you tell us why? Didn't you stay there like for a week or something?
Yeah, I would really like to stay there for many days more, because the people there was incredible. But weather decides everything in such a place. So I wanted to go to Greenland, but it was full of ice, so it was out of the question. And there was some bad weather coming, and staying at anchor at Jan Mayen with a tiny little plastic boat in bad weather, that's not smart. So I just had this nice weather window, and I just took it, and I got out of there as fast as I could. So I had one night there, but it was a memory of my life. So it was really nice. But if you have to go, you have to go. That's it.
Yes. So even though that we like beers, we plan the sailings after, not when the pub opens and closes, but after the weather always.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yes. How now we talk about security aboard. How do you think about security? I mean, you could be injured, or you could get into rough weather, which I see that you constantly do. What are your thoughts about this?
To be alone in a sailboat, I can't sit there and say that it's safe all the time. Of course, it's many times I've been in dangerous situations, but it's a life you have chosen, so it comes with the risks that are there. But and I'm totally, I know of the risks, but I choose to go anyway. And I choose to trust myself and trust the boat. If you don't, you might as well just stay home, I guess. But my boat, Tessie, I think is a real nice boat for what I do. I'm never scared on board her. I feel very safe all the way.
What kind of boat is it?
Yes, maybe you could tell a little bit about your boat and what kind of boat is it?
She's called Tessie, and it's a Contessa 35, 6.5 tons, and with a fin keel, and very sturdy ocean-going boat. She's pretty heavy, but although she's a sharp bow to plow through the seas, and she runs very nicely through the water. So I've been sailing a lot of boats up and through my life, but I think this is. I always long back to Tessie after being on other sailboats. I have to say.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
So did you put any special equipment? I mean, probably when you bought Tessie, it's quite many years ago, right? Then probably she didn't look the way as it does now. How did you prepare it with equipment and stuff like that for these quite rough sailings you've been doing in rough areas?
The number one thing is to get the boat to steer herself when you're alone. So I have mounted this hydrovane, the self-steering wind pilot on the stern, and I have a really strong and good autopilot when I'm not using the hydrovane. So that's the two main things on the boat to make it steer itself. When it steers itself, you can go a long way. And the other thing is to have proper sails for all kinds of winds, especially the strong ones, so you can sail in strong winds, because it will occur offshore at some time. So you need to be prepared for that.
Yes. So you're like your main tips. That's self-steering and sails rigging.
I would say so. In my world, that it is. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. There's somebody asking also, have you sailed your whole life, or how old were you when you started sailing? And how old is the boat?
The boat is from 1976, so that's 47 years, I think. And I've been sailing since I was 11, and now I'm 38. I have to think 38. So yeah, so quite some years.
A while as well.
It's about my whole life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regarding self-steering, we had a situation. We sailed from the Canary Islands down to Cape Verde, and then first our wind vane steering was broken, so we put on the autopilot, and then I think it was the next day, then the autopilot broke down also, and we had there was like a gale blowing, big waves. It was night also, and it was quite rough, because we thought, whoa, we still have like 6 days of sailing. The boat cannot steer itself. this could be a big problem, but luckily I managed to fix the autopilot, so we were only without self-steering for a few hours, I think. And I had the chance, I think it was the year after, to have a beer with Jimmy Connell, and that's a theme with beers here, I think. But and he told me, so what should you have done if you couldn't have fixed the autopilot? He told me. And I said, I don't know. He said, oh, but I think you should have heaving, what's it called in English, heave tow? That you should have heaving tow. That means that you put the boat still in the water. You sheet in the genoa to the lee water, put the rudder to the other side.
Yeah, so it keeps still in the water.
And then you can just go down sleeping. You can cook. You can relax. And then when you have new energy, you can go up, start sailing again for the next 10 hours or something. Then you can do this again. Do you have other tips or other considerations like this? Because that was really an eye opener for me. That even so we have such a big problem. That's
yeah. Well, I haven't had that problem yet to break my autopilot, but I know heaving tow is a very good choice, and it's easy to set up, and it's fast to set up. Or you, in other cases, you can use a sea anchor maybe, but it's a lot of fuss. It's easy to get it out, but it's a lot of fuss to get it back in.
Yes.
So I would say heaving tow is a good option. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in any situation where you were thinking, oh, damn it, I wish there were somebody here with me, or a situation where you thought, whoa, maybe I shouldn't have put myself where I am now?
No, maybe sometimes it's, of course, it's nice with company, but I'm really into my own little world, when I have a little bubble when I sail. I just really enjoy being alone out there. But when I get to shore, I really love to see people and be social and go to the pub, and take the beer and talk to other sailors and be social. That's beautiful. But out offshore, I completely love to be alone.
Yes.
Yeah, I can really rely on that as well, because we sail with other people and think that's quite nice sometimes, but then there is this problem with, my flight goes from there, or there's a flight coming in, and all of a sudden maybe you want to go somewhere else and then you can't do it, and it affects you a lot. So when we sailed back home, we had 10 days by ourselves, and all of a sudden it's like, no, we're not sailing to England anymore, we're sailing to Spain. And it was so easy. Let's go to Spain. But if we would have people with us, that would probably not happen if they were flying from England.
We lose some flexibility when there's a crew also.
Yeah. So it's nice to be alone as well.
Yes. Erik, I was wondering, could you tell a little bit about this photo, which I show here now?
Oh yeah, this one is just the day before a big storm arriving at my hometown in Haugesund. And it was the perfect direction from northwest, from the North Sea towards land. And there's a small island outside Haugesund called Røvær, just 1 hour sailing out in the northwesterly direction against the weather. So I sailed out the day before the storm to get in position on this island to ride downwind the day after in this storm. So it was a perfect experience. Amazing.
How did you feel when you got into harbor there afterwards? Was it like that? Oh, maybe this wasn't really good.
Well, your adrenaline rises pretty much, so you're very on guard. But I have to admit that I am a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I search for this. I want to be in it. I want to see it. I want to feel it and see how it is. And that's why I do it. But indeed, yes, when I think I'm at the most scared when I'm leaving port, because then I don't know what's awaiting for me out there. But once I get out and I'm in the middle of it, then I can see that the boat is fine, that I cope with it, and it's really a good feeling when you can lower your shoulders and when you see that this is fine, I can do this.
Yeah,
and that's probably also the difference between being well prepared and knowing that you can handle it, and not being well prepared, I expect.
Yeah. You know, somebody says that the best seamanship in storm is to not go out or stay in port, so, of course, but you won't learn to cope with the storm that way. You probably would have a smack in the face if you ever get caught in a storm and you never faced it. So that's why I do it, to train. It's training.
Yeah.
Yes.
But one of the things that can be hard when it's hard weather is this with the food and cooking and eating and so. And there's people wondering about that as well. How do you do with the cooking when it's hard weather?
I don't do much cooking. I open a cold can of food and I eat it raw cold. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Cold?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cold tin food. It's everything tastes good when you're offshore in waves and you're tired and your body is beat up. You can eat anything.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, because I don't imagine you do the same at home in your kitchen. Just open a can and eat it.
No, it's not that bad. I go to the takeaway store.
Yeah, okay. No, but I think we made that as well. Sometimes we did some dinner at home that we had made when we were sailing, not in a storm, but in a bad weather. And when we ate it at home here, it was like, it didn't taste good at all. It's like, well, we'll do that again.
Right,
but when you're out sailing, it did taste good.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
So what do you do about sleeping and resting when you're by yourself?
Well, I don't have any, sleeping plan or anything like that. I rest when I feel like it, but during, if I sleep, it will be during daytime because then I know other boats and ships can see my boat. So then I rest a little bit, deeper, better. And at night, I really don't sleep at all. I just lie down maybe for 10, 15 minutes. And then I'm starting to get anxious. I get up and watch 360 and then go back down and have a little rest again. And that goes all through the night.
Yes. How do you make sure that you don't sleep the whole night when you go down and take a rest?
Oh, I can't sleep. It's too much sounds, and you're a little bit nervous, and you're on guard all the time. It's not possible to go to sleep. Not for me. It's a weird feeling lying down in your boat, in your bunk alone, and you can hear the waves and weather outside, and it's no time for deep sleep. That's for sure.
No.
But do you get seasick ever?
Occasionally, if I go down under deck and puzzle with small stuff, and write something or search for something, and then I can feel seasick. But I just go back up again and have some fresh air, and I'm back in the game pretty fast. Luckily.
Yeah. I think here's a question with a lot of red dots, and they talk about updates on the charter plot. How much do you use the radar, and is it a must to have a radar?
It's not a must to have a radar, but I sailed 16 years on my boat without a radar, and I actually never missed it, other than maybe a couple of times in dense fog. But now when I get it, I use it all the time, especially by night, and when I get close to land or for navigation or such. Then I use it, yes. But I wouldn't say it's a must, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well.
Is there any other equipment aboard that you say, oh, I just love this equipment? It's my
I love the autopilot and the wind vane, the hydro vane. I think that's the coolest things on board. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I think they may make it possible for you to sail by yourself as well.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can do this.
Yeah, I think this is a good one. What is your most important lesson learned overall that you will pass on to everybody else?
Within solo sailing?
I think so.
Yeah, well I would say stay warm and eat a lot of food. Don't get hungry because then your blood sugar runs down and you just get tired. Yeah. And stay dry. The three things.
Yeah.
Stay dry as much as you can. Then you can go on forever, basically.
But I think that was a fun thing when you say keep warm, because in a lot of the movies that we watched from your channel, you are wearing t-shirt and it's up north and it looks cold at least. And I was like, I can't even do that in the summer back here. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, well, I have my diesel heater. It's going about 24/7 on inside the cabin, but so I and it's warm enough, so I often just run around in training trousers and t-shirt because I'm a very warm-blooded guy. I don't really need too much clothes. I hate to be too warm. I'd rather freeze than being too hot.
Okay.
It's weird, but that's me.
Yeah.
So I think all of us who's been sailing long trips on the sea have experienced that stuff break on the boat. How do you prepare for stuff breaking on your boat?
I have a bunch of tools for absolutely everything on board. It's a big list of tools, so I think I could be able to fix most of the trouble that appears if it breaks. So I think that's important to have tools for absolutely everything, so you can fix it, and maybe have two things of the most important things on board to be able to fix. Yes. So have double up.
Which stuff do you have two things of?
I have two autopilots, or two different ways of steering the boat by autopilot, and of course the wind vane. I think it's the steering that's the most important, I think, or else you're in deep shit if the boat can steer.
Talking a little bit about your YouTube channel also, I think you do amazing movies with your drone and with everything. And I mean, I just show some images here. I mean, if you've seen the movies that Erik are making, it's amazing that you can put up the drone in a lot of wind, like we see you sometimes do. How do you have any tricks about drone flying to us?
Well, there's no big secret. It's just a lot of training and failing and training all the time. And the way I do it now, after a couple of years of training, I always, if it's navigational room around you, I go downwind, and to get less movements on the boat when I deploy it and retract it. When for takeoff and landing, I want as little movement on the boat as possible, because the drone is always staying like this, and the boat goes up and down. So it's hard. It's very hard, but
yes.
So far so good.
Yeah. Have you lost any drones?
Yeah, losing count now. What I think 4 or 5 drones I've drowned. Yeah.
Have you lost any, Thomas?
Only one, and it was in Norway, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like losing a child.
Yes.
A little baby.
And then I can tell you that our son, he said to Thomas, please don't fly again because you will lose your drone. No, it will work out just fine. And then he went off into the woods.
Yes.
There we go.
So when we sail and we have a lot of crew aboard, we have people to share our experiences with, and we talk about to remember what happened there. And how do you think about that? About do you talk to yourself, or
how I entertain myself?
No, I mean actually, what do you think about? You have a lot of experiences on the sea. What are your thoughts about that? You get all these experiences by yourself, and you're not you don't have anybody with you at that moment to share them with.
Yeah, well, that's where all the GoPros and cameras comes in handy, because then I can film everything and share it, and that's the fantastic thing with YouTube, especially, that it's so easy to share it, and you can show everyone. One thing is the experience out there. Alone, it's I have done it for many years. I sailed to South Spain alone in 2007 with my boat, and up and down Norway, Spain, and up. For 1.5 years I used, and I didn't take almost not any photos, any video, because it was 2007 and YouTube almost didn't exist. And when I got home, trying to tell about all my experience, people didn't really understand what I have been experiencing because they weren't there. So being able today to show this on video I think it's amazing.
I know that we could see some drones and cameras from where you're sitting.
Oh yes, we have a unique chance of being backstage now. Maybe we can see you.
I can have you a little swap around the office. Can you see this? This is the editing space. A lot of books are enough to put the iPhone on, but it's not usually there. And I have this big screen here for editing, and those 2 screens for editing, and stereos. Let's see, stereo here, microphone, and all the cameras. It's a mess. This is all the cameras.
Wow.
We have underwater drone here. We have 1, 2, 3. I think I have four different drones right now, and this is the DSLR camera with stereo microphone, and this is, let's see if you can see that. That's the charger bench, all the chargers for all the different cameras.
It's so a wonderful pain, then.
It's a pain to divide them, but all this is coming on board, and iPad for the drone, for the control. So that's shortly it.
Yeah.
I could imagine you must bring a lot of charging cables and stuff. It's not a problem keeping everything charged up on the boat?
Not when I have this system. Everything is. I have 3 sets of batteries at all times. So one battery is always top charged. So it's just a switch all the time.
Yes.
But it's a constant job, 24/7 to film and make video.
But you editing everything back home again. Somebody was asking if you do films when you're out sailing, or if you bring it back home and you do the films at home.
I bring everything back home in my studio, and I edit it here, and peace and calm. I've tried on board, but that makes me really seasick. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So, and when I get to port, I'm just too tired to start any editing. So it's much better to bring it back home and have rest and be ready and start.
Yes.
In peace.
And how long does it take to make one movie?
In average, I think I use 3 to 4 weeks on a 25-30 minute video.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long?
It's a lot of. It's slow. But if you want, I'm a perfectionist. So if I want to have it just my way, so that takes time.
I can read here in the questions and the comments that people want you to sail much farther away and more, so they can see more videos from it as well. Is that what you're planning to do?
Yeah, of course. That's what I want to do all the time.
Yeah.
So, but right now I'm waiting for new sails for the boat, so I can't get anywhere. But once I get the sails on board, I will start immediately for the next adventure.
Yeah.
So do you plan for the next adventure? Do you plan that to also be in cold water? So could we maybe in the future see you in, I wanted to say in shorts and t-shirt, but I mean, we see you in shorts and t-shirt even though it's freezing outside. But I mean, could we see you sailing into more warm waters also?
Not. I don't think so. Not at first. I've been, as I said, I've been in Spain, South Spain in summertime, and it's just too damn hot for me. I don't. My body shuts down when it's 30 plus Celsius. So I really like it up here in the north. That's where I belong the most.
So the West Passage could be a plan.
The next passage is if you know this Corona thing doesn't stop me, I will go to the Hebrides, West Scotland in April. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I expect that's what your next movies will be about also, or do you have any movies planned in between?
Well, when I get my sails, I will make a little video about that, and then after that, I've never tried a sea anchor in a real bad weather, so that's going to be the next film. I'm going to go outside in the ocean here and try. I bought a new sea anchor, so I just want to test it and see what happens when I throw it out in the big seas. I'll make a video about it.
Cool. I look forward to see that. And
Yeah.
now we're talking about that. Do you have any good advice for bad weather sailing, rough weather sailing?
Don't have too much sails up. I think that's rule number one. I think that's what scares people when in bad weather, when there's too much sails involved. That's when thing can go wrong. So that's my number one advice.
Yes. And how do you do you have like satellite navigation aboard, or how do you know how it will be, or do you just check before you leave?
I have satellite navigation. I got that last year, I think. I have this what's it called, Iridium Go for satellite weather, so I can download satellite weather and send messages and take phone calls back home, and yeah, so that's neat.
Probably you've had a lot of wonderful experiences, but maybe you could tell about, maybe there's one experience who's gone more into your heart than other experiences. Maybe one that just comes to your mind now.
Well, I think the best experience was the first time I crossed the North Sea over to Shetland in mid-winter time in January. That was amazing. It was real tough weather, and it was me and another boat, and we sailed solo in each our boat. And we just looked at it, and I have to say it's a big festival, Viking festival on Shetland, in end of January every year. Huge festival, and that was the one we wanted to go to. And we just looked at each other and asked, are we going to do this? Are we stupid or are we brave? We don't know, but okay, to hell, we just did it. And crossing the North Sea wintertime, it's really hard, but it's an amazing experience. And seeing Shetland rise up in the horizon, and you realize that you made it. That's a strong moment. And then going to this big Viking festival, it was amazing. Time of my life.
I can imagine. Maybe you could just describe, we have seen your mother in some of your movies. Maybe you could just describe the conversation you had with your mother before you left for this.
Oh, she hates what I'm doing before I leave, but she comes down when I'm offshore, and I call her back and tell her that everything is fine. That's the worst is always just the moment before I leave.
Yes.
So I have to calm her down and tell her, I've done this many times, mother. You have to calm down. This is going good, And she's, no, I don't. She doesn't like it, but that's mom's, I guess.
That's how we are.
Yes, what do you say, Marie?
Yes, that's how it is.
Yeah, it is.
I can tell you that the difference between moms and fathers is that our teenage daughters came and asked me, I'm planning to go to Copenhagen with my friends. We live in Sweden. I'm planning to go to Copenhagen. Oh yeah, great. I hope you have fun. And the mother said, oh, should we have discussed it? So I can tell you that's the difference.
I think we should discuss the answer before. Yes.
Yeah, it's just the same with my father as well. It's just the same. He's gonna be fine. And he just waves me off.
Yeah. Here's a question now when you said new sails, what kind of sails is it, and what kind of reefing system do you have?
It's pretty basic. I have a main sail with 3 reefs in it. The last and lowest reef, it just leaves a tiny little cloth for the worst weather. And I have this Genoa as a foresail on a roller, so I can adjust it in and out as much sail as I need. This is how she looks today. But I'm also gonna set up a cutter sail inside the foresail.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
That's really nice. We had that on our old boat. We had a cutter sail. That's really nice for long distance cruising.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know if you already discussed this when I was reading the questions, but about powering all the equipment that you have with you when you're on board.
Or power in general.
Yeah, in general, do you have solar panels or how do you do
No,
this?
I have. Well, I charge with the engine when it's really low on batteries, but otherwise I use this. I think it's called Watt and Sea hydro generator. It looks like a little outboard that you just plow into the ocean, and a propeller charges the batteries. So that's really nice. But I don't have any solar panels, no.
Yes, I'm sorry. It looks like the door just opened and the wind started getting in here. So that's sorry if we were a bit unfortunate.
I'll live.
Yes, we're back now. Sorry. Yes. Because I think we always have problems with electricity and power aboard our boat. So it's really interesting to hear how simple yours. Well, not simple, but how easy you get going, because it's. I like when things are easy and that you don't need like a big boat to do big adventures. And but did you ever think about getting a bigger boat or another boat or in some way?
No, I get that question a lot, but the answer is just I love my boat, and I've been sailing thousands of miles with her, and it's for me it's the perfect boat to sail solo, because the fact that she's not too big, that's why she's so good, because she is easy to handle for one person.
Yeah.
And when things go wrong, she's not too big to handle, you know. And if I had a 45-foot boat, it would be a whole nother ball game when things go wrong.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a perfect boat. I wouldn't change it for the world.
No, that's great to hear. Yes. So maybe you could just tell a little bit about what did you feel when you anchored in this bay?
Oh, that was an experience. That's Værøy in Lofoten, North Norway. That's the last stop before I sailed 500 miles out to Jan Mayen, this volcanic island. So just being here completely alone and dropping the anchor and having a whiskey, that was that's it's not often you experience stuff like that. So that's a memory for the logbooks.
And in general, sailing in Norway, is that a rough weather? I mean, we actually been sailing in Norway once, but what if anybody else wants to go cruising in Norway? Do you have any advice for them?
It's so much to see along the coast. It's 1,100 nautical miles, I think, from south to north, and it's just packed with different places. So ask people with experience. I haven't actually been to a lot of places. I just have done long stretches along the coast, not stopping for too much places. I'm not really that known, but Google around and ask people who have experience, and there's just a bunch of stuff to see.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I think that's one of our problem, because when you sailing, you sail such a long distance, and then you're not even staying so long for every places. We can sail to one place, then we can be there for a month. It's like we just love this place. We're gonna stay here. So we have problem to see a lot of places.
Yes.
Because we stay at one place.
Yeah. Well, I love to be in my boat and be on the move. So when I get to shore, it's really nice to get to shore. But within a couple of hours, I'm starting to itch. I want out again, and so I just take one night, and I'm out again.
Yes. Time is almost running out, but I think maybe we can take a few more questions before we round up.
Are you always attached to the boat? And what do you do to prevent you from being hanging upside down outside the guardrail?
Yeah, it's a good question. I use this security line often, but in some situations it's just more dangerous than good. So I don't always use it, but in heavy weather for sail chains or stuff on deck, I will use it. But back in the cockpit, I'm very active and run around, and it's a lot of things to do. So it's just in the way, making the situation maybe more dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's a choice, I guess.
Yes. There's another question coming in that says, have you tried sheet to tiller self-steering? Sheet to tiller self-steering?
No, I haven't. I know what it is, but I have never tried it now.
No. And what is your most scariest moment at sea so far?
The most scariest moment, well, of course, bad weather in night, 100 miles from land. It's a scary moment because you never know what can happen. If you hit something, you know what will happen if you hit something. But it's if you start to think like that, you know, it's you're just giving yourself a bad experience. So when I go out, I have a positive attitude and I think positive and I'm 100% sure I'm going to make it. You have to believe in yourself and your boat in order to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and I think that is a question an answer to the next question as well. How you're going to do this in the start when you haven't tried it before, and that's like you say, you need to believe in yourself that you can do it, and to trust your boat.
We actually have the rule about our boat to talk about whatever can go wrong. What should we do if we lose the mast? What should we do if somebody fall overboard? What should we do if we start leaking? What should we talk about? All this stuff before we talk about it with the children. Also, we talk about it. We talk about a few hours before we leave for an ocean trip with our crew. But we never talk about this while we are at the sea, because this should, in our opinion, this should be something you really know about. But talking about it while you are at the sea, I think that will just make you scared, sitting in the darkness. Ooh, I wonder what will happen if Margarita falls into the water now or something.
You never think about that?
No, but that should be so much. We should already have talked about this and know about what to do, so we are not afraid of it. So we actually know what to do if it happens.
Yeah.
And Erik, you have actually worked like a professional instructor in sea safety also, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
I guess you can use a lot of your education and a lot of your knowledge here on your personal sailings also, right?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I've been instructing everything from CPR to firefighting to survival at sea, how to stay warm if you go into the water and everything. So yeah, absolutely, it's a great experience to bring on board my sailboat. Yes.
So as you see it, what is the biggest danger when doing offshore sailing?
Falling overboard or fire. That's the two things that can mess up everything pretty fast.
Falling
so stay on board.
Yes.
Yeah, then you're done.
Yes.
Yeah. Here's one question. Would you consider sailing around the UK and visit some places and meet your fans?
Yeah, maybe one day I will. If I get to West Scotland now, maybe if there's time, maybe I can go to. I just will proceed to the South England. I've been there with Tessie with my boat before, and it's an amazing place. It's packed with sailing enthusiasts all over the coast.
Yeah.
So it's I would really love to go there and meet you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just. You opened a shop also, right?
Yeah, I have opened a merchandise shop a year ago about. Yes.
Yes, and I've seen this stuff in some of the harbors. Could you just show some of and how did you get the idea to do this? I think it's quite cool.
It's because a lot of viewers had sent me messages to and they say, how can I support you, Erik? How can I support you anyway? and others say you should open a merchandise store so people can buy your stuff so they get something in return, you know. So, all right, I thought I would, and I did, and I'm selling these hats now, and like these, and T-shirts like this, and it's been selling a lot of it, so it helped me very greatly to finance you know, equipment for the boat and to get on a venture. So it's a real big help, and people wear my stuff, and that's amazing.
It is. So I really go and support it. I will send an email afterwards. After this, I'll send an email with a link to your merch shop and a link to your YouTube channel also. And I will really say to everybody, if you don't subscribe to Erik's YouTube channel already, do it, because he's making a lot of fantastic movies there. And
Thank
also, and I'm afraid the time is running out. Time flies by so fast. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And normally when you do a talk, I guess you've been doing a lot of talks at boat shows and companies all over. Then normally the host will come with flowers to you, but it's not really the right season to find flowers in the garden now. So actually I have a bad consciousness that I cannot give you a hug and give you a flower, but instead I would like to send our book to you. Instead, you can call that a flower, but do you want it in Danish or do you want it in Swedish?
I think Danish is closest to Norwegian. That's amazing. Thank you. Perfect. Appreciate it.
But thanks a lot for joining here today. It has been really cool talking to you. We've learned a lot. And so thanks a lot, everybody. And thanks, Erik, a lot. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Talk to you. Bye-bye.